Good morning, Kota Territory. Welcome back to another territory. Welcome to the Kota Now desk, and welcome back to another DIY Friday Delights. I'm your host, Mimi Herrick, and today we're joined by a relatively new face here at Kota Territory News, Miss Chloe White. Chloe, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me, Mimi.
Yes, and you brought this DIY idea to me earlier this week. Can you tell me a little bit about what we're doing here today?
Yes, so these are bricks, and we're going to paint them to look like some of our favorite books. And then you can use them to decorate your garden, put them around your house, a lot like how anyone would use smaller painted rocks.
Yeah, and it was pretty affordable to do this DIY. I'm sure if you're a homeowner, you probably already have some bricks laying around your house if you have brickwork already. But when I bought these, they were like less than $1 a piece. So in total, I think my only expense for this was like $1 for the bricks. So it's pretty easy. Chloe, you have a pretty interesting job here at Kota Territory, right? So can you tell me a little bit about what it is that you do here?
So I am the assignment manager, which means I get to help our reporters find the news. And then I get to help them coordinate stories, see where everyone's going, kind of plan out what we're going to be covering for the day. I also get to talk to a lot of our viewers when they call in for tips or different ideas, and kind of sort through, what's going on in our community.
Yeah, no, that's definitely a lot of fun. Your job is a lot of herding cats because us reporters are very naughty and needy. What would you say has been the most challenging part of, sort of transitioning into this role?
I would say mostly that I just haven't worked in news before. So the field as a whole is pretty new to me, which means there's a ton of stuff to learn.
Oh,
I am every minute of every day learning something new.
I feel that way even though I guess this is my first real news job, but I've been wanting to do news for like my whole life, and I still learn something crazy new every single day. So you have a lot of really cool, interesting hobbies that we've talked about a little bit. And on this segment, I like to get to know people beyond just their job title. So can you tell me a little bit about what you like to do in your free time?
Yes.
Because we have similar hobbies.
We do. My biggest one is reading. And I could say that all my hobbies sort of revolve around books for the most part. I read constantly. Mostly fantasy. There's a few different genres that once in a while I'll pick up. But I mostly read fantasy books. Mm-hmm. And then I also rebind books. So
That's
I
really
take
cool.
old books, give them a new cover, make them look pretty again. And then I collect antique books.
Yes. On our next DIY, I think I'm going to have you teach me how to rebind a book. That's something I've always meant to get into because it looks so cool. Like, I don't know if you at home watching this have seen those TikTok videos of people who rebind their books, but every time it turns into this beautiful work of art. And a lot of the ones that I watch, they do the whole sprayed edges thing too, which is just also insane to me.
Yes, that's one of the newer things I've been picking up is sprayed edges.
Okay.
So I started painting single color edges on books. And now I'm getting more into doing actual designs, using different stencils, and being able to put pictures or images on the edges.
Yeah, and Kota Territory has kind of been where you call home for a while, if I'm correct, right?
Yes, so I came from an Air Force family. So I wasn't born in South Dakota, but we moved out here when I was pretty young. And I did almost all my schooling out here, went off to college for a bit, and then decided to move back here and be near my family.
Yeah, I completely understand that. As many people know, I'm from Chicago, and the Great Lakes area has such a special place in my heart. What has been your favorite thing about coming back to the Black Hills area in South Dakota?
I would say I think this area is sort of the perfect size, especially when we look at Rapid City. It's big enough that we have some of the bigger retailers, different experiences and activities you can do, but also small enough that you know people. There's a sense of community. There are people you can interact with on a regular basis out in your neighborhood or at different local places like a coffee shop or a restaurant. And so it's really nice to have that feeling of, oh, this is a smaller area, but still large enough to have some of the conveniences or nicer things from a big city.
Oh, definitely. I agree completely. I mean, I thought it was going to be a crazy transition coming here from, the Chicago area, living in the Chicago area pretty much my whole life, and then like Denver, Boulder area. Like I thought I was gonna really struggle here, but surprisingly it's not as like rural as the stereotypes of South Dakota make it out to be.
I would agree with that for sure.
And so we were kind of talking about books and stuff already, but what are you currently reading and what cover are you currently painting?
So I am currently in between books. I just finished up Shield of Sparrows, which I gave about 3.5 stars. It was pretty good. I think that rating will go up maybe once I read the second book.
Yeah.
Hopefully that will come out soon. And I am currently planning on reading Red Sister next.
Yes, I am very excited about that because you and I are starting something that I have been wanting to do literally the whole time that I've worked here. It's been almost a year and I have been dying to start a book club. So if you haven't already heard about it, on May 28th, we will be discussing Red Sister by Mark Lawrence. If you're looking for the details on that book, you can check our Facebook, our Instagram, and I believe some other places on socials, but if you are curious, go ahead, check that out. We have a post, it details the book, who it's by, why we chose it, and a quick little, the Goodreads summary, if you're Goodreads people. So what would you say is your last 5-star book that you read?
Oh, that's really tough.
It is.
Because I'm really, really stingy when it comes to how I rate books. It takes a lot to get a 5-star out of me. But I would have to say The Jasad Heir.
Okay.
Which I read probably 2 weeks ago. And it's also a fantasy book. But I think I'll give that one 5 stars.
Okay. You know what? I can get behind that. I actually don't know. I'm going to pull up my Goodreads here right now just so I don't misspeak. But I haven't rated a book a 5-star in a minute. I don't think that was like a surprise for me. I rated the new Emily Henry book, Great Big Beautiful Life, 5 stars, but that's just because it's Emily Henry and I'm extremely biased towards that. And then prior to that, it was Sunrise on the Reaping. Have you gotten to that yet or no?
Yes, I have. That was a fantastic book. I'm really enjoying all the new Hunger Games content we're getting.
Oh, yeah.
With 2 relatively new books, a new movie, and later down the road, I think we're getting another new movie.
Really?
Yes, I believe they just announced some of the casting for Sunrise on the Reaping.
I did see that, yeah. The Sunrise on the Reaping cast looks really good, and if you haven't read that book, I also highly, highly recommend it. What would you say is your favorite thing to do besides reading and besides your book hobbies outside of work?
I love being at home.
Yeah, that's so fair.
It sounds a little weird sometimes to people, but I enjoy just, being in my home with my family. I have 2 cats that I love very much, so I spend time with my cats. I crochet as well.
Oh, cool.
Which is a new hobby I learned only a few months ago, so it's not necessarily good crocheting, but I am learning.
Yeah, I actually have been recently into crocheting too. I started learning that when I was younger-ish, but it wasn't like, I wasn't crazy good at it. I never have been. But it's something to do, right? It's nice to have something to do with your hands if you're like watching TV or something, which is why, again, I'm really into the DIY stuff, clearly. What book cover are you painting right now? I
am trying to paint Ariadne by Jennifer Saint. Trying is a key word, but this is one of my kind of top authors. She writes retellings of famous Greek myths.
Yes.
So there's a lot of history and a lot of research that goes into her books, but there's still some kind of extra element or extra twist that brings it into a fantasy genre.
Yeah, well, I just finished painting the title, so I'll go ahead and show everyone here. I am attempting to paint Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. That is one of my favorite books of all time. I know you said that it was also one of your favorites. I love a good classic. There are a reason that they're classics, right? And Jane Austen is just so good at like writing the drama, the scandal, the intrigue of it all is so fun. And I would like to say that she was probably the original enemies to lovers author. She's the OG.
For sure.
So if you're looking for a good romance that is an enemies to lovers, Pride and Prejudice is banger.
I would agree. I think one of her best qualities as an author is her ability to convey humor in her writing.
Oh, 100%.
It seems like, oh, well, if it's a classic, it might be a little stuffy or hard to get through. But even with the language difference from her time to ours, there's a lot of humor and sarcasm and wit within the books that really just kind of bring out the life of the characters.
I would 100% agree. I think especially, I have also read Emma by Jane Austen.
Oh, yes.
I loved that. That had some twist, some intrigue, some scandal, if you will.
Big scandal for sure.
Huge fan. So what is your most anticipated release of this summer, I guess? So I'll limit you from this year
For
to
this summer. Ooh, that's, I gotta kind of think on that one. There are so many books coming out this summer. I think at least kind of 5 to 7 each month this summer that I'm looking at and have on my to-buy list. But I'd have to say I think R.F. Kuang is coming out with her new book, and I think it's in August, but it might be in September, which takes it out of summer.
Well, I'll give it to you. I'll give it to you here because I think that's acceptable. I did not even know. I'm really bad at keeping up with releases. The only people I really keep up with is Emily Henry, but that's because she releases a book and it comes up as an ad for me every year at the same time, so I know, oh, okay, I've got something to read. But I'm really looking forward to the new V.E. Schwab book that's coming out in like 2 weeks, I think. That's going to be like another fantasy. We talked about it on First Sip yesterday. If you weren't, paying attention or whatever, you should be. You can go watch that after this. But it was, just a lot of fun. I love V.E. Schwab. I think she's a great author.
I think so too. Most people I've met, I've convinced them to read some of her books.
Yes, especially her most famous ones that if you don't immediately recognize the name here, I think her most famous book is probably Invisible Life of Addie LaRue.
Yes.
And then she also has the Darker Shade of Magic or Shades of Magic trilogy. I believe is her most famous series.
I would agree with that. I think, and both of those books and book series are pretty different. And I think that's what's really cool about her writing style is she has the ability to write something that is sort of a fantasy with romance elements, with some intrigue, but then also write something that is a bit more focused on world building and a magic system and a little more in depth on the fantasy side rather than looking at something like romance.
Yeah, I definitely would agree with that. I'm going to say let's go ahead and wrap it up here. I know you're not fully done, but we'll finish this off camera to give the people at home a break from seeing my face this morning. But I've kind of finished mine here. If you can see, I've got Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. It is looking a little rough. It's looking a little rough. I'm going to have to do some touch-ups off camera. But thank you so much for joining me here on the digital desk this morning for a DIY Friday Delight. And thank you for bringing this idea to my attention because I had no idea that people even did this.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right. Well, my name is Mimi Herrick. Make sure you tune in next Friday for a pre-recorded DIY Friday Delight, so I won't be able to answer your questions live if you do have them. But for now, I'm Mimi Herrick. This is Chloe White. Have a good weekend.